With the Underwear Olympics officially over, it's time to take a look at who impressed and who might have a little work to do before the NFL draft. Welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to the breakdown coverage of the NFL Combine. We're going to talk about days 1 and 2 today. We're going to break them down. Who won? Who has a little left to improve on come their pro day? Who has something more they have to give? I know a lot of websites, a lot of people say they're losers. I'm not going to say that. They're still getting an NFL contract, so I'm not going to call them losers quite yet. But who has more they have to improve on? Before we start that, however, again, thank you for joining me on Believers Talk. My name is Joe. If you haven't already hit that subscribe button, please be sure to do so. Like this video, leave a comment. Always enjoy getting back to my commenters about their opinions. I don't always agree with your opinion, but I always like to talk to you about it. And also hit that notification bell once you hit that subscribe button. We will be going live for the NFL draft this season. I look forward to talking NFL draft with you guys on that day. But before we do that, we need to break down the NFL Combine. Before I break down days 1 and 2, guys, I do want to talk a little bit about what the Combine is, what it means, and what we should take away from the NFL Combine. Guys, I think a lot of people have put way too much emphasis on the NFL Combine. Now, the NFL Combine is a great place for, if you haven't heard of a guy yet, or if someone really wows you, you can look into his tape, his college tape a little bit more. But to me, that's all it is. I know someone, one of my commenters left a comment before asking, how much stock do I put in the NFL Combine? Guys, it's not that much, right? It's maybe 5-10% of where I would rank a player on a draft board. It comes from the Combine. I just don't think it's that important. However, where it becomes important, not necessarily in time ran or how many bench presses you could do, things like that, I do think it becomes important on how you follow instructions, right? Some of these drills are not drills that you would normally do in a normal practice setting, okay, in a day-to-day practice for a team. But these drills also haven't changed, and I'm going to say about 10 to 15 years, if not longer, right? You know the drills you are going to be running. So when Dennis Daly, offensive tackle from South Carolina, comes into the NFL Combine, he should know what drills to run. And the reason why I bring up his name is because if you watch his drills closely, one of the drills that they do where they try to hug the one hash mark as they go backwards, going back and forth, he didn't know what he was doing. In fact, the announcer even said during that run or whatever you want to call it, during that practice that the coaches informed him what to do, he said you could tell that he had not practiced that before. Well, why haven't you, right? Why haven't you? So I think for someone like Dennis Daly, no matter how well he did as far as the numbers show, I think he hurt his draft stock just by not knowing how to run a drill that has been run for the past 10, 15 years, if not longer. Like, why are you not going into that combine 100% prepared for what's coming? I don't understand that. So from that aspect, maybe the combine's a big deal, from the talking to the players, from things like that. But as far as the actual times, I think sometimes people can get wrapped up in the times, right? I mean, you look at who's run the fastest 40 time? John Ross, wide receiver, right? How well is he doing in Cincinnati? Not that well. Now, he was hurt a lot of his first year. Second year, he might play a little bit better, but still, was he worth a first-round draft pick at this point? So you need to look more at the collegiate career than you do the NFL Combine, how they do, to get a good, realistic view on who you are drafting, where you want to draft them. So that's my spiel on the NFL Combine, but we want to get right into it with day 1 of the NFL Combine. This is where we saw the running backs and the offensive linemen participate. Again, I talked about Dennis Daly, offensive tackle, South Carolina. There are a couple more winners, and again, I don't like to call them losers, and people who need to prove more come their pro day later on as we get into March and get ready for the NFL draft. So let's talk about them for a little bit. Obviously, we want to talk about the guys who really impressed us, right? Who were the guys that stepped up, who really improved their draft stock? And first, we're going to start with Garrett Bradbury, center from NC State, did really well, had a 4 4.92 second 40 time, which for center, for an offensive lineman, that's really good. To do anything under 5, that's really good. Played well at the Senior Bowl as well. Guys, some scouts are saying this guy looks like a Pro Bowl center candidate. And for the Buffalo Bills, especially if you're a Bills fan out there watching this right now, you know how badly we need help on that offensive line. The center position is one of those positions where we could use a little help, even though we have already addressed that to some degree. But let's look at Garrett Bradbury, right, and see what he can do. Will he be on our draft board come draft day? Obviously, there are a couple free agents I know some people out there like at the center position, but if they're not willing to come to Buffalo, or if we're unwilling to pay for what they want, maybe this is a nice cheaper option. Again, a Pro Bowl candidate considered by most scouts to be a Pro Bowl caliber center. So keep him in mind. Really did a good job. Andre Dillard, offensive tackle, Washington State, did a really good job. Again, ran a 4.96 40 time, kept it under the 5-second mark. Last scout saying he's going to be a top 15 pick, and he didn't do anything to hurt his status in the NFL Combine. And then another offensive tackle I've seen in mock drafts going to the Buffalo Bills a lot is offensive tackle Jawan Taylor out of Florida. Really impressed in the Combine, which he really had an impressive collegiate career at Florida, and now he's impressing again at the Combine. So, great athleticism, moving around really well at the Combine. So good job by him. Moving up to the running back position, guys, we know that we need a running back as well. Again, we have the oldest backfield in the NFL. We have the 2 oldest guys under contract right now at the running back position. So with McCoy and Chris Ivory, the 2 oldest running backs in the NFL. Currently under contract, if you include the fact that Adrian Peterson will not be under contract after March 13th and things like that. So we need to get younger at the running back position, and maybe the draft is where we look. I know that recent news has come out saying that the Buffalo Bills have talked to Travis Coleman. So, we can look at that route. Again, his free agency, I think he's 26, so it obviously is getting a little bit younger. But if you want to look at the draft, you look at Justice Hill. Justice Hill probably had the best day one out of anybody who participated in day one at the NFL Combine for the running back from Oklahoma State. Not only did he put in a 4.4 40, but he also had a great vertical jump at 40 inches. I think he had the top vertical jump at 40 inches. He also did great in the cone drills as well. So you can't argue with his day. Had a great day. Definitely helped his stock. And I talked about running backs coming into the Combine. Might have worked his way up into my top 10, possibly at the 5, 6 position. We'll see. After I reevaluate everything, I will regrade my personal board and see what I think as far as players going into the 2019 NFL Draft. Those are my winners from day one. You look at the guys who have a little bit to prove on their pro days. Again, the pro day is where everyone who's going out for the NFL for that team, let's say it's Ole Miss, who's on here, Florida, whoever it might be, they all show up and they practice for the scouts who are interested in going down there and seeing them. So each team can bring a scout down and talk to the player and things like that. So some guys that have a little bit something to prove again and the pro day. I'm going to look at Greg Little, offensive tackle from Mississippi. He had a 5.33 40 time. Again, not that impressive. But let's be honest, offensive tackles, what are you looking for in the 40 time? Very rarely are you going to see an offensive tackle need to dash 40 yards. But we're looking at his pro day at March 29th for Ole Miss. Needs to do a little bit more there. He was hobbled a little bit during the Combine, so that might have had something to do with his slow time. Also didn't do that great on the bench press either. So we'll look to see Greg Little do a little bit better come his pro day. Devin Singletary, running back from Florida Atlantic. Everyone was talking about him as a potential, and even I did talk about him as a potential surprise candidate as far as who might impress at the running back position. But you're talking about 4.66 40 time. And again, the running back position, it's a little bit more important how good you do at the 40 time. But his pro day is March 26th. So we look to see him do a little bit more work there as well. And then you talk about Elijah Holyfield, running back from Georgia. Now, I'm not going to be as hard on him as my friend over at Louis T Network. If you haven't subscribed to him, guys, check him out. He also keeps you covered through the Combine and beyond. But yeah, Elijah Holyfield ran a very slow 40 time, 4.78. But I'm not going to be as hard as him. He also bench pressed 26 reps, which was, I think, second or third most for running back. So this guy's a bigger back, right? Going to be a bruiser. Now he has 4.78. Bad? Absolutely. You need someone who's going to have breakaway speed, right? You're not going to draft someone high if he's just going to be a third down, third and short goal line type back. But those are important too. So you have to look at for what it is. Again, slow 40 time, but one of the better bench presses of the day for the running back position. So we want to keep that in mind when we're talking about what he needs to do. His pro day, let me pull it up here. I don't think I have it actually. Georgia pro day. I'm sorry, I did not write that down, but he does have more to prove come pro day. So you want to talk about on day one, you want to talk about some of the stats, if you will, from day one at the NFL Combine. The 40 time, again, the best 40 time, which is what most people care about, is the 40 time. The best 40 time by a running back was by Chris Johnson in 2008, running 4.24. So that is the record for running backs currently. The fastest time was by Justice Hill of Oklahoma, who ran a 4.4 flat. Raquel Armstead, who also had a big day, impressed a lot of scouts, probably helped himself out as well, from Temple. He ran a 4.45. And then third was a tie between Jordan Scarlett from Florida and Mike Weber from Ohio State with a 4.47. Again, Mike Weber, another one of those guys moving up draft boards. Might be a late day 2, early day 3 type guy. Maybe he'll surprise me and go even earlier than that, but he is jumping up draft boards as well. Bench press, you look at Alex Barnes. Alex Barnes actually broke the record with 34 from Kansas State with 34 bench presses. So he broke the record. Anytime you break a record, it's a good thing, right? So you like to see that. From the running back, came in, meant business from the get-go. The record he broke was from gosh, I forget his name. I knew it. McKinnon. I think it was McKinnon who had the record prior to him. Jalen Moore from Appalachian State, 27. And then, like I talked about, Elijah Holyfield from Georgia with 26. Vertical jump, the highest. Again, you'll see his name a lot on this day, and that is why he had the best combine out of anyone day one, Justice Hill, with the best vertical jump of 40 inches flat. Travis Homer from Miami with 39.5 inches, and then Alex Barnes, again, making his name known with 38.5 from Kansas State. Go to the broad jump, you hear his name again, number 1 on this list too, Justice Hill from Oklahoma State, 10 feet 10 inches. Travis Homer again on this list from Miami, 10 feet 10 inches, and then Dexter Williams, running back from Notre Dame, 10 feet 10 inches. So those were the stats from the running backs. Running backs did not do the bench press, or at least there wasn't any stats for the bench press when I checked it out. So I'm not sure who had the most bench presses on this day. But again, we talked about some of these winners, Justice Hill, Alex Barnes, Mike Weber, all guys that you could see jumping up draft boards. Guys who have a little bit of work to do. We're talking Devin Singletary and Elijah Wood. I do have Georgia's pro day as March 20th, so I did find that. So those are the guys from day one that really either impressed me or left something to be desired. Move on to day 2. You're talking about the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends. You look at the wide receiver and tight end position, especially if you're a Bills fan, you know those are 2 positions of need. And who impressed the most on day 2? There's no question about who impressed the most on day 2, and that's D.K. Metcalf, wide receiver from Ole Miss. This guy looks like a beast, and a lot of Bills fans now are excited about potentially getting him at number 9. What if we have to move up to get him? What if number 9, he's gone? You know, that's how big of a day he had, and that's how good of a career he had at Ole Miss. But there was more that impressed me from this day, even though D.K. Metcalf, yes, had a good day, and we'll talk about the statistics from his day as well. But let's go over some other guys who impressed me as well. First and foremost, guys, I know the Bills are not looking for a quarterback, but let's get that out of the way. Kyler Murray, of course, Oklahoma quarterback, he impressed by not doing anything. And that gets to me a little bit, but at the same time, measured in at 5'10 and 1/8, over 200 pounds. A lot of people worried he'd be under 5'10, under 200 pounds. Why does that matter? They do have a prototype quarterback who sits at like 6'3", I think it is, 6'4", 220 some pounds, things like that. But in today's NFL, you wonder, does that matter anymore? Rolling pockets, the game's changing so much, protecting the quarterback back there. What does that really matter? Does it still matter? We do see some smaller quarterbacks, Baker Mayfield, Drew Brees, Russell Wilson. We do see them able to make marks in the NFL these days. But to every one of those, there's a couple who can't. So which one does this guy fall in? Now, of course, a lot of people are saying, oh, he's the number 1 overall draft pick now. we'll wait and see. You can check out my draft coverage, and we'll talk about Kyler Murray and where I see him going in the NFL draft. Drew Lock, also impressed, quarterback from Missouri. And then Tyree Jackson, for all you Buffalo Bulls fans out there, Tyree Jackson, quarterback from Buffalo. He had a great day at the NFL Combine. When we read off the stats a little bit later in this episode, you will see he had a great day at the NFL Combine. Showed off his arm, his strong arm, and he comes in with a lot of the high numbers that you want to see as well. So really got scouts talking about him at the NFL Combine. You talk about QBs that need work to do at their pro day. You talk about Daniel Jones from Duke. Not throwing the ball that well, guys. Missing receivers, throwing behind receivers on the deep throws. You saw the receivers having to come in to get him, not using the sideline to help the wide receiver get out of bounds. Those are passes that the safety is going to intercept every single time in the NFL. So some work to do. His pro day is going to be Tuesday, March 26th. And then Trace McSorley, quarterback from Penn State University, ran the fastest 40 time, which we weren't surprised with, right? If you watch Penn State football, you know Trace McSorley is a fast guy, and he is willing to do anything it takes to win. I think in 2018 he actually, at least he has the record for most touchdowns by a quarterback in Penn State history, whether it be running, throwing, like anything. I think he owns that record now for Penn State. So we know he can run. His throwing needs some work, though. Again, throwing behind receivers a lot. The timing's a little off. And if you look at his release, he needs to tighten up his release a little bit, guys. His pro day is going to be March 19th, so we will see how he does. But those are the quarterbacks. Again, if you're a Bills fan, you don't really care about quarterbacks. We have our boy, Mr. Josh Allen, back there, and we hope that he is our long-term answer at the quarterback position. But you look at the wide receiver, tight end spot for the day. Again, you want to talk about winners, you talk about D.K. Metcalf running a 4.33 40 time. Great job by him catching the ball during the NFL Combine as well. 6'3", 228 pounds, has a vertical of 40.5 inches. That's what you want to see out of a wide receiver, a guy who can go up and get it, right? Right, Kelvin Benjamin? Go up and get it. That's all you have to do. But we need a number one guy. Can D.K. Metcalf be that guy? Will the Bills draft D.K. Metcalf? Or will we look somewhere else? I will let you know what I think in an upcoming episode when we talk more about the NFL draft. Loser on the day would be, or again, I don't like saying the word loser, but a guy who has more work to do come his NFL pro day. Georgia tight end Isaac Nada, tight end here at 4'9", 240, not the greatest. 7.453 cone drill. Again, these are slow times for that position. Has some work to do at his pro day, so we'll see how he does there. Another winner, you look on the other side of that Ole Miss wide receiving core, A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown had a great day. Obviously, it was overshadowed by D.K. Metcalf, but you talk about 4.49 40 time. That's pretty good for the wide receiver position. I think he kind of gets overlooked because of D.K. Metcalf, but he also had a great collegiate career at Ole Miss. Just go look at the stats. Or we did talk about wide receivers. I believe I talked about stats in there. Go check that video out. He did a great job throughout his collegiate career, and we will see him at the next level. I'm going to a guy who needs a little work at the wide receiver position. Talk about Georgia wide receiver Riley Ridley. I feel like I'm making fun of Georgia Bulldogs right now, but I'm not trying to. Much respect there, but 4.6 40 is just not going to get the job done at the wide receiver position. His three-cone and agility tests were so much better because of his foot speed. So he has good foot speed, but he didn't have speed coming out of the 40, so he needs to adjust that. And you want that speed in the open field. Those 40 times are definitely good measurements as far as how well you run in the open field. You want to have that breakaway speed so you can get in the end zone. So that's where we're going. He needs a little bit more work to do at Georgia's pro day, which I think I said earlier was March 20th. So again, look for him to improve on March 20th. Hopefully, how about his draft stock a little bit? You want to go back to the tight end position. You want to talk about Iowa tight end Noah Fant. Did a great job at the Combine. And guys, I was just as impressed with him. I know a lot of you weren't, but I was just as impressed with him as I was with D.K. Metcalf. I would really love to see Noah Fant become a Buffalo Bill after this draft. Had a great Combine. Watch Iowa tape. He's had a great collegiate career at Iowa, so would love to see him. I know a lot of people are huge on that number one tight end. I'm looking down the list because I don't think we're going tight end in the first round, and if we don't, I think it's Humphrey or something like that. He's not going to be available. And then where do we look from there? And I think this guy, Noah Fant from Iowa, is a great place to look. I want to talk about a guy that in my pre-combine coverage of the wide receiver, I told people to look out for, and that's wide receiver from Texas, Lil Jordan Humphrey. Not the greatest combine. You look at a guy who is down on a lot of people's charts as far as wide receivers coming out in this year's NFL draft. You were hoping that he'd have a good combine to show off what he can do. Again, throughout his collegiate career at Texas, tough, gritty wide receiver, not the fastest guy, pretty tall. But, again, you need to be able to show that you can break away in open field. Ran a 4.7540. That's just not going to get the job done. Again, the tall guy there, but we'll see how he does. The jump ball type thing, you want to draft a guy like that who can get those tough yards on 3rd and shorts or gets the sticks, that type of thing. So we'll see how he does at his pro day. However, he did not impress here at the NFL Combine. You want to talk about breakdown 40 times, things like that. Again, Trace McSorley had the fastest 40 time. Tyree Jackson of Buffalo's second fastest 40, 5.559 on this day. Easton Stick from North Dakota State, quarterback, ran a 4.6240. Vertical jump, Tyree Jackson had the highest vertical jump, and same thing with broad jump. Again, Tyree Jackson from Buffalo. I know a lot of you fans will enjoy hearing that. Had a great day. And I look forward to seeing him at the next level, see what he can do, as long as he's not drafted by like the Patriots, But that was my takeaways from day 1 and 2 of the NFL Combine. Guys, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know a guy or two who might have impressed you or might have some work to do who I didn't mention, and I'll happily talk about them as well. But again, thank you for joining my Believers Talk. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Again, we give you constant content. We got the Combine, NFL Draft coming up. We will keep you covered throughout the draft, and I will be live on draft day going over the draft. We'll talk football. We'll talk about the Buffalo Bills. We'll talk about any team on there. If you have a question, happily to answer it there. We keep you posted throughout the free agency process, throughout the preseason, regular season, of course, beyond, as the Buffalo Bills look to improve and get back to the postseason. So again, thank you for joining my Believers Talk. Hit that subscribe button. We will see you all soon. Until we do, go Bills.